Welcome to another painting tutorial. In this video we're going to paint a Christmas poinsettia, so let's get started. And I'm going to start with a size 6 flat brush, and I'm going to spray the canvas once with my fine mist sprayer, and then I want to do some underpainting, and I'm going to take a nice bright yellow color, and then I'm going to put that on a few of the leaves. Trying to be careful about staying inside the lines. And then we'll do this one over here. So you can do this fairly quickly. And you can use a fairly substantial amount of water on your brush, because it's just a nice wash and we're just going to want this to show through. Okay, so probably just for those two we'll do the yellow. And then we're going to do the same thing but with a pink color. So you can mix a pink, just take a little bit of red and put it into some white. In this case I took my magenta and put it into white. And then these two leaves here at the bottom, I'm going to put that pink wash. Okay, and then let's let that dry. And while that's drying, let's work on some of the leaves. So I'm gonna have some be a little bit on the warmer side and some be a little bit more on the cooler side. So I have a hooker's green, and I'm gonna load my brush with half hooker's green and then half of a darker green. I have this kind of evergreen shade. And then let's see here. So I'm gonna put, let's go with this leaf here. Okay, and you can see I have some variation there in the light and the dark values. And that's what I wanted. So it's kind of like one stroke painting, and you're letting the brush do a lot of the work for you, and the paint is kind of blending and mixing together right on the page. Okay, and then let's see, we have another leaf on this side. So I'm going to take a little bit, I have a moss green, so I'm going to take that lighter green for this one. See if I can press down and turn the brush on its edge to kind of make that leaf shape. Okay. And then I want to take some ultramarine and mix it up with some of this hooker's green and see if we can get just a little bit more of a blue toned, cooler shade. And then let's put this over on this side. You want to use a fairly large brush for this. The flat brush works good for leaves. I'm trying to get a crisp edge. Okay, you can see how that adding that blue just kind of cooled it down. Let's add a little bit more. And then we'll come up here. So it's a little bit tricky. You want to get the right amount of moisture on the brush. So you might want to use some paint that's nice and fresh and will flow easier. You could also add some medium in there if your paint is kind of dry like mine is. Then we'll do this one here. So we just have a lot of green, and we're going to paint over those towards the end. Okay, so just try to take your time and do as neat of a job as you can with that. Okay, and then I'm going to rinse off my brush, and we're going to move to the green, or to the red, sorry. And I'm going to stick with this same size 6 flat brush. Okay, and I have this beautiful red color. It's an orangey red vermilion shade. It's pretty transparent. I'm going to put that on top of, I want to water it down a little bit because it's showing up a little bit too strong. I want it to be a little more on the transparent side so that you can kind of see the colors that you painted underneath. So that pink and that yellow, you want those to show through a little bit. And just use the edge of your brush to get into the smaller areas because we want that flower shape in the center to stay white. Okay, you can see how the pink kind of showed through a little better on that one. And for this one, that paint kind of dried on me. But let's see if we can fill this one out. So yeah, you can kind of see the difference. This one's more pink, and then that one has more of an orangey color because those two colors are mixing right on top of that page. Then let's put red over this one. You can kind of play with the amount of coverage that you do. Okay, and now let's go over to this color. And actually, why don't we try this? So I have another shade of red. This one is just a little bit cooler. And let's put that one over here. So it's the same bright red. It just has a little bit more of a blue undertone rather than a yellow undertone. And then that's just going to give us a little bit of variety. Carefully go around those edges. You can see this paint is flowing a little bit easier because it's fresh out of the tube. Then we'll do this one up here. Okay, so you can see a little bit of difference between those two shades of red and how the colors are also presenting differently when they have no underpainting and when they have a pink underpainting and a yellow underpainting. So that just gives it a little bit more movement. It makes it more interesting. Okay, so you could let that dry if you would like. And now let's add some darker values. And so for these lighter ones, I can take this cooler red shade. And I'm going to mix a little bit of maroon. This is just a maroon color that I have on my palette. And let's see if that gives us a darker color. And we'll come out with that as a shadow color. Take a little bit more maroon. Okay, and I'll just kind of use that as a shadow. And you want to be careful because you want it to be darker, but you don't want it to be too big of a jump in value. On that value scale, you don't want to jump too far, but you do want it darker than that first wash. Okay, and then I might take just a damp brush, see if I can blend that in. Just kind of soften up some of those brush strokes and do a little bit of blending. Okay, and that looks pretty good for the red. If you wanted to go a little bit darker, I'm going to take my size 0 spotter and I'm going to take this dark maroon color and then see if you can put in the very center just some really dark colors there. Kind of make it subtle, and that's just going to make, actually right here needs to be darker. It's just going to make things pop a little bit more, because the more variety and values that you use, the more your piece can look three-dimensional and really pop. Okay, so I would let that dry completely before moving on to the next step. And we could actually move to the leaves while we're letting that part dry. So for the leaves here, I have some silver paint. This is just a beautiful metallic craft paint. Any brand can work. And I want to put some of this on top of some of these leaves here. And we're just putting it over in a fun kind of manner. You can kind of make it a little bit more of a glaze by watering it down. And I'm just kind of alternating. I'm putting some silver on some of the leaves, but not all of them. And then I'm gonna take, I have another silver or metallic color that's kind of a green shade. And then let's see if we could put that on top of some of these other leaves. Okay, I'm just kind of glazing over with that metallic paint. And then I might just leave the other two without any metallic paint. So that just gives, like I said, a little more variety to the piece. So I see an edge that I'm going to clean up really quickly. Okay. And I think this part right here could be covered up. All right, so we can let that dry. And then we'll come in, I have that size 0 spotter. And I'm gonna, well, actually, let's use a little bit of a larger brush. So I'm gonna use this size 4 filbert. And I'm gonna take this silvery metallic paint. And then I wanna pop that in the center to have a little bit of a beautiful silver center there. Okay, and then you could let that dry. And I'm going to take the size 0 spotter. I'm going to take some white paint and then just put some white dots in the center. And then we'll let that dry. So while that's drying, you could take, I have a size 1 rigger brush. And if you wanted to add some detail to the petals, you can kind of roll this brush into your darker paint. And then let's see if we could kind of carefully do some delicate line work. You can kind of go over that pencil sketch that you have. Just make sure to roll that brush. You want the paint to flow pretty easily. Kind of shows up a little bit more on that lighter color. Okay, and then if you wanted more texture, you can sort of make these little lines coming out of the flower, the center of the stem. This is a step that, again, you can try to take your time with. It's really kind of delicate work that you would want to really concentrate and take your time with. Okay, and some of the lines can be more faint than others. Just want that variety. So after it's dried, that final step, we're just going to take a light yellow color. I have this pastel yellow, and I want to put that right on top of our white dots. Okay, and I put the white underneath so that it would really show up. Okay, so your poinsettia flower is complete, and you can see how it has a nice shine to it from that metallic paint. So it's a lot of fun. All right, thanks for watching. I hope you got to paint along with me. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.